They don't get bones in their wieners. Let me just... This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I can't get over it. I can't even formulate my thoughts over this because it's the dumbest of the dumb. Even if it was just a cooking style, one would expect that, oh, the boneless cooking style would not incorporate a food item with a fucking bone in it. I just need to relax a minute. It's not like the one I had like a couple days ago, which I'm still like kind of getting better from. It's like a miniature. I don't know if that's a real thing, like a miniature panic attack. My leg is like really weak now. All right, so I'm trying not to get too worked up over this one, or at least no more worked up than I already am, because I've been having this issue where I will just have like panic attacks if I feel too strongly about anything, whether that is like getting like too angry or too sad or too excited or whatever. My glasses are messed up, but something is immensely bothering me today, and that is it's kind of going viral. Maybe you've already seen the fiasco about the supposedly boneless chicken wings in Ohio. Basically, this Ohio Supreme Court ruled that I just can't even. Let me just. This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. I can't get over it. I can't even formulate my thoughts over this because it's the dumbest of the dumb. All right, like just let me recount like a little bit of this. Basically, 2016, guy ate at a restaurant and he had boneless wings, except there was a bone in them, and some of it got lodged in his throat. He got an infection, and he sued the restaurant. And now the Supreme Court ruled that actually. That's not a problem, that there was a bone in the boneless wings, and that, let me see, I actually wrote something down for this for once. Justice Dieters, who was in the majority, it was a 4-3 ruling, said that the food items label on the menu described a cooking style. It was not a guarantee. And in the BBC article on this, and frankly all the articles look about the same because the news media just cannibalizes itself anymore, whether that's of their own volition or because of the AI they use. Anyway, in the BBC article it says, a majority of the judges considered being cautious of bones in a boneless wing to be common sense. And Justice Dieters compared it to chicken fingers, in that basically saying, oh, well, you wouldn't expect that, like, when you order chicken fingers that they're gonna be actual fingers. Here's the difference, dude. We know chickens don't have fingers. That is common knowledge. Even children can recognize that and question why it's called that. It's just because of how it looks. But you know what they do have? They have bones. They have fucking bones that people can choke on, as this person did, and get injured or even die. And even if it was just a cooking style, one would expect that, oh, the boneless cooking style would not incorporate a food item with a fucking bone in it that you can choke on or like crack your teeth on or what have you. It's just one of the most moronic things I've heard in my whole life. I can't believe it. I'm someone with schizophrenia, and I have to say that the justices who are in the majority on this one are absolutely insane. This is one of the most insane things I've ever heard. It's like, it's an affront to the English language itself. Truly, I've been saying this, but like truly, this is a fine example of just nothing means anything anymore, or you can make anything mean whatever you want, or nothing at all. And then also, like, they were being so condescending in that, like, oh, you would actually, like, take it literally? Like, no one's gonna literally think that it's boneless. Like, they've probably never even eaten wings in their lives, and that's, like, peasant food. They don't even know what a bone is. They eat at fucking, like, Weenie Hut Juniors or something. They don't get bones in their wieners, but I'm sure if one did show up there, they'd be pretty upset about it. Like, imagine, I don't know, if I start a sandwich or something and I was like, oh, it's the rockless chicken, and then you take a bite and there's a bunch of fucking rocks in it and you break your teeth, and it's like, oh, it's just a cooking style, you can't sue me. I didn't literally mean that it was rockless. It's like how like with like student loans, student loan companies, they a lot of them have like this clause where if you are, and this is kind of more like specifically schizophrenia related, which is the main thing of this channel is supposed to be, and now I'm kind of doing the stereotype of the schizophrenic rant. Anyway, they'll have like a clause or something that just says like, oh, if you're like totally and permanently disabled, we will like basically forgive your loans, or you don't have to pay them back, whatever terminology they want to use. But that key phrasing of totally and permanently disabled, which the government has its own definition of, and you can get your federal loans forgiven if you meet that. So like Social Security can determine that you are permanently and totally disabled, but then another loan company can, like a private loan company, can just be like, oh, actually you don't meet our definition of it, and they tend to be very vague about what the definition even is or what their policy is. And it's like that, where it's like, fuck, nothing means anything anymore. Like it's like what everything has become subjective, and like sure, yeah, like it technically, like laws are made up, words are made up, sure, but like we have a common understanding, typically, of what most things mean, and I don't think it's like unrealistic as the three judges who were in the minority to think that, oh, a boneless wings, yeah, that would obviously not have any bones in it, because it's a version of a food item that has bones normally. So if you advertise it or whatever as boneless wings, one would expect that there's not going to be a fucking bone in it. Like, why is this so complicated? And I refuse to believe that all four of these people are so ignorant that this hasn't crossed their mind, that they're so illogical, especially when they're at like the highest court in Ohio. And if they really are that ignorant and just completely illogical, how did they get here? And why are they still there? We need to... No, not even to Weenie Hut Juniors. They should be banished to Super Weenie Hut Juniors for life. And if they slip and fall and get a boo-boo while they're there, they should go to Weenie Hut General. I like, it's baffling. This is actually... this isn't even performative. I'm actually going to replace one of the 5 videos I was going to start this channel with this one, and then just upload the other one at a different point. I don't know which one yet, we'll see, but like, as I said in one of those, whether it's going to be in there or not, I don't know, the rest of the world can just be so irrational and like batshit insane. And I was talking mostly about like conspiracy theories, like mass hysteria and stuff, but this is another prime example of like, I am someone with schizophrenia, and the stereotype is that we are so like irrational and do like random acts of violence and all this other like crazy stuff, and yet I have never said or done anything as insane as this, and it's like also not with like the level of consequences. I'm not on the Supreme Court. But the things they decide on affect people. These are the people that are making like pivotal decisions that will impact your life. And the actual Supreme Court, the Supreme Court, you know, the federal one, has made great efforts in gutting like the administrative state so that it won't be like expert regulators making decisions like these. It'll be judges, much like themselves, who have said that basically you're a fucking idiot for thinking that boneless wings would actually be boneless. And yeah, sure, you should be careful when you like bite into anything, but I think most people should not have to fear like breaking their tooth or choking on a boneless wing because of a bone. It's and like the like condescension, like the way they act of like, oh, how stupid of you to take it literally. Like, oh, I'm sorry that when it comes to something that I'm gonna be putting in my mouth, like ingesting, going in my tum-tum, that I take what you have to say about it literally. I didn't know we were being figurative about this. And it would be one thing if it was a different product, but like the whole point is that wings usually have bones in them. So again, you would expect that if you say this is a boneless wing, that it would not have a bone. It doesn't matter if you want to call it a cooking style like they did, because one would also still expect that, oh, this boneless cooking style would not involve a fucking piece of chicken with bone in it. Like, it's just... what is going on? This is the most insane. I'm trying not to be too loud because my neighbors have a baby, but like, what is this? What the fuck is this? I'm like, actually just freaking out. It's like, I know it's all, I know we're just living in a really like stupid world, and that like not everyone's rational or even like principled or anything, and that the people who make very important decisions, I've mentioned like on mental health, like being on a behavioral health committee, they don't always know what they're talking about or even what they're doing at all, and they don't know like basic facts about the things that they are supposed to be making decisions on. And yet it's like this just it like fully hit me with this, because on one hand it's incredibly stupid, right? It's just boneless wings. This is like, I'm sure gonna come off as an absolutely insane rant in of itself, but then it's also super important because it's literal, like, it's food. You ingest it. It's your body and your well-being, your health. I keep looking down because I just need. I'm having a hard time looking at the camera, but I really have anything else written here other than what I already said. Apart from the fact that, like, okay, here are the 4. I even went to the trouble of writing down the 4 people who were in the majority because I am like that. I'm that worked up over it. So as I mentioned, we have Justice Joseph T. Deters, I think is how you say his name. Maybe it's Deters or Deters. I'm going with Deters. Chief Justice Sharon L. Kennedy. She really took the L on this one. Assuming usually Sharon is a female name, not always. Justice Patrick F. Fisher and Justice R. Patrick DeWine. How they got where they are, I don't know. I don't know where their brains are at, especially Deters, and comparing it to chicken fingers when, again, the vast majority of people know that chickens don't have fingers and that it's just based on the shape of the food. It is not the same as boneless wings. It's a completely different thing because chickens actually have bones, dude. Like, how is this? This is, oh my god, this is an embarrassment. This is a like planetary embarrassment. I can't even just be embarrassed as someone like who lives in Ohio, from Ohio. I'm just embarrassed to be on the same like earth, to breathe the same air as such an individual. How did they get this far? Like, it can't be genuine. It has to just be like, what is wrong? Is it just like you're just like that much anti like consumer and like the average person, and you just gotta like side with the restaurant or like, you know, the businesses and stuff, and I'm sure they're very corporate friendly. Is it that? Are they like blackmailing you? What power do they hold over you, dude? This is just absurd. I forget what one of the justices in the minority said. He had I cannot remember the word he used, but it was a very like bizarre word and it just fit perfectly, because this is just like, it's such a mundane thing, and yet it is indicative. It's like a microcosm of a much larger problem, and it's really disturbing that the power of like, and the ability of like regulators to decide on these things, on like actual experts to weigh in on these things, is being like pulled back. Like, this is like, we're just at the beginning. Like, I joked when that happened that like, oh, we're gonna be like eating, what did I say? Like, I think it was like lead water and like eating like asbestos sandwiches and stuff, and just random, you know, horrible things that should not be consumed, and like toxic waste burgers or something. I can't remember what it was I said, but it's like we're actually like entering. I knew we would get, maybe not to that point, but just in that territory. Sorry, I'm like foaming at the mouth. That was gross. We were getting that territory, and now like it's actually happening. Now, this was something that started in 2016, so like this version of events probably would have happened regardless, but it's like it is indicative of a larger thing to come, just a wave of fucking stupidity. I guess just don't eat anything, or just fucking grow everything yourself. Just be completely self-sufficient, because you can't trust that they're even being literal with the products anymore, or that they are going to be even remotely safe. It's like, that's like if I gave you like a glass of, and I said it was like leadless water or lead-free water, and then you drink it and then it actually has lead in it, you get lead poisoning. I'm like, oh, it's a style, you know. It's like, it's the way I prepare it, you know, that I call it leadless. It doesn't literally not have lead in it. Like, what in the fuck? I'm not, I know people are gonna think that I'm like pretending to be this worked up by it. I am being sincere. I haven't even, it's gonna sound gross, like this is the morning when I record this. I literally read this like around the time I woke up, and just, I've not even like properly gotten ready or anything. This was like the first thing I did, other than eat some like crackers and hummus, and that was basically like a banana too. Not the greatest combination, but I just random things I had. So like, like it's crazy to think that I might actually like have a panic attack over this because it's so dumb, and yet it's not. It's super serious too.
Hey, all like 12 of you. This is Future Nate talking from the void. I just decided to cut the panic attack, you know. There were some reasons why I thought, well, maybe it would be all right or like good to show this actually. Like there's things that could be derived from this. But then I was like, nah, I'm not gonna let you sickos see me having a panic attack. And plus, it was like 5 minutes long. It was like a quarter of the length of the video. It wasn't like a super serious one either. It was like I think a pretty mild, at least for me, pretty mild panic attack. So here comes like one brief bit from the like aftermath, and yeah, if you made it this far, go ahead and incorporate Super Weenie Hut Juniors into your comment.
You know, they have. I look really stupid. They have tests for this food related cases. How in the fuck? How did it pass? Any of them? Either one? There's two. It's bullshit. Okay, I'm really done.